we've been asked by the Hospital Association to, if we will, as a municipality, to take a moment of silence for the COVID victims, and that we can be in prayer for them. And if you will, at this time, let's go ahead and move in. Amen. Okay. On the agenda for today's meeting, so we have no one here speaking, right? No one signed up on that list. Good. On the agenda for our council meeting today will be, on the old business, will be permission to pay a $5,000 host fee for the 2021 Carhart College Bass Series to be held October 1 through 4. And that's going to be right here in Wetumpka. They will be fishing the river here. And I think we are working with the Hampton for some of the hosting. They're assisting us somewhat in that. But this is, I believe, the top 10 schools, fishing teams throughout the United States. And it's my understanding there's one team from the SEC that qualified for this. So it should be a good event. We've hosted some major bass tournaments here in years past, and had good success from that. So this is on the collegiate level. And the collegiate level, you know, Trip Weldon was always involved with the bass programs in years past, but his son, Ben, is the one that does the collegiate level. So that's our connection, and Wetumpka's connection back to this. So we'll be asking for permission today to move forward with this. On the new business, you've been presented, as the law requires, a budget presented by the mayor and the finance people to the council. And you have that in front of you. This will be the first time it'll be on the agenda, so it'll be carried over. And you've had some explanation, but if you have any further questions about this budget, feel free to come forward, and we'll get you the answers that you need. Item 3 is an ordinance on 2021-4, an ordinance to establish and regulate the reserve officer program for the police department here for the city of Wetumpka. And we have to go through the proper channels in order to establish that. So they're requesting that this be done, and where we can have an effective reserve program. Okay. And then item 4 would be to accept the bids for the soccer field turf. And Mr. Barrett, there's a guy that. Do you want to explain that?
Yes, sir. Sydney's handed out a memo summarizing the bids. These were bid through the county commission, and the bids were received on August 25th for topsoil over the new soccer fields, for Bermuda sod to be placed on the soccer fields, and then seed mulch the areas around it. And you get prices there, and the memorandum are 75 cents per foot for the topsoil, 60 cents per square foot for the sod, and 6.5 cents for seed mulch. We received one bid. These prices were in line with what we estimated or what we expected. And as you can see down at the bottom, it was a joint project, so our portion for this project is, a budget of $185,000 to do that work on the west side of the state.
Any questions?
I don't know how much money we spent, where we could water it, but glad we did.
We've got plenty of water the last couple of weeks, but I'm sure we'll use it in the future.
Yes, yes.
It's not gonna be a surprise up.
Shake you up when you first look at it, and hopefully something will have for years and years to come.
Is it 2 fields?
2 full-size
2 full.
regulation field, yes. So it's a large area.
Y'all can hear that.
That's it, walks like a dog.
I had the thing on, where I was on one supposed to have to hear that. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Okay. Any further questions on this? Okay. Then item 5 would be to accept the bid for the parking lot lighting at the sports complex at the cost of $148,000. That and striping, and should complete that
Yeah.
project, right?
Yeah, so these were bid through the county commission as well. We received 2 bids for the parking lot lighting. One of $211,225, and the second bid was $148,000. This again is a joint project between the commission and the city of Wetumpka, with the city sole responsibility of the lighting for this project. So our portion would be the low bid of $148,000 and that's to light the entrance coming in from 111 and the perimeter of the parking area to security standards.
Okay, any questions on this?
That should be done before the next home game.
In 2022, probably.
With the answer there is by the 1st.
Not the first home game.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's correct.
Any questions? Step on it, I think.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 6 on our agenda for today would be permission for the fire department to purchase communication system at a cost of $6,639.75. And understand we've got a lieutenant here that's gonna present this to us.
Yes, sir.
It's Mr. Baker.
Hey, we just need your fire trucks, just the communication's tough. When they're open cabs, there's a lot of noise. Just being able to hear communications and talk amongst, each other in the trucks, it just makes things a lot easier. We got one quote. This is the company we use exclusively for all our radio communications, so we know that it's gonna be compatible with what we have. And when we looked into some other stuff, the problem with that was the companies they were not sure if they were gonna be compatible with the radios we use, and if we moved to the 700 megahertz radios in the future, if they were gonna be compatible with them, so it just makes sense to just stay with the ones we know is gonna work.
Okay, and, any questions on this? Is that in your budget?
Yes, it is.
That's normally the standard question. It's in your budget. Okay, thank you, Jake. Then item 7 is permission to purchase a track crossover mats at a cost of $7,885. Coach Dickerson, and this is the first time, Coach Dickerson.
He's not here, the chapel.
Okay, Chaplain.
These are, mats we need to purchase to put behind the home and visitor sides on the track for, when the football players, we don't want them to get on the track. Right now, we're using some, leftover turf. This will keep them off the track and protect the track, because we don't want to void that warranty. So we need to give them a little bit more room back there.
So this goes behind the benches on the home side and the visitors side,
Yes.
correct?
And it'll give them a little bit more room. Right now, there's not a whole lot of room back there, is what we've got. They look the same as what we have as those crossovers going, to the locker room. But we just need to give them a little bit more space on the side.
Will it cover the whole, so it won't necessarily cover the whole track right there?
It won't cover the entire track, but it'll give them a little bit more room back there.
Any questions on this?
How many, is that two or two?
It should be 2 for both. Well, it'll be enough to cover the entire side, and I'm not sure the number. It's 8 of them.
4 on each side, I
4 on
believe.
each side, but it will cover their entire side.
How quick can you get them?
I'm not sure.
I mean, if they
Kinda
make a
cover
shut,
it.
I think they said a couple of weeks.
so do we need to suspend the rules for the next, so we can get by the next game possible?
We need to try to get them as quick as we can. I do know that. Because we don't need them walking on this,
We can suspend the rules. We'll ask to suspend the rules to move forward with this. Okay? Thank you, Mr. Brown. Item 8,
I'll say.
permission for Public Works to purchase a commercial mower. This is actually not for Public Works, but since the sports complex comes under Public Works, this is where the mower is going, is to the sports complex. And we got a mower that has gone down, and we need to replace it and scrap the other one.
That's
So,
right.
is that correct?
Yes, sir. This is actually going to the baseball, softball side of the sports complex. We've got 3 different quotes. They would like to have the Toro, because that's what we're running right now. It's a lot easier for us to stock parts. But whatever the council wishes is what we'll do. We'll give you our quotes.
So, and that quote was what?
The 13,377. They did quote us the top, but the lawnmower that we have has the existing top, so we took that off. We can just take it off of the one we have and put it on there.
13,377.
Yes, sir.
That's the private outdoors one.
Yes.
It said 78.85.
That's the map.
No, I'm sorry, never mind. I just woke up. I need to.
Can someone call him again, please?
I'm one behind.
Okay, thank you. And then item 9 is permission to host the Art in the Park in Gold Star Park on September the 25th of 2021, and that is by, who's doing that?
It's an individual artist, named John Susan, and Paula Susan.
Okay.
They want to have vendors and a band, flip tones, entertainment, food trucks.
So it's individuals doing this, individual artists?
Correct, yes, it's no groups, individuals. They have security, they would have, they need security, we always send these to the police department anyways. When they
Okay,
do go
police-
on.
Police department will be signing off on this? Okay.
25 to 50 people, they're saying, so.
Okay.
So they only have, about 10 vendors or booths.
Have we checked to make sure we do not have a wedding or an event going on in the, Jeanette Barrett room? At that time?
She's checking right now.
Hmm.
She's checking right now, September 25th, we
Don't have anything?
The baby
Baby
shower.
Baby shower. Okay,
Jonathan, you're all Rose fans. Playing.
okay, that's, they can control the sound of that, okay. All right, any further questions on that? Okay. All right, so we'll call our council meeting to order and move on into our council meeting. And, the invocation this afternoon will be given by Ms. Tucker. And the pledge will be given by Mr. Robbins. Okay.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for allowing us to assemble here to conduct the business of the city. We're granted that everything goes well and all items on the agenda be accepted. And these are all blessed as a son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Councilmember Robbins.
Here.
Councilmember Tucker.
Here.
Councilmember Justice.
Here.
Councilmember Gant.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Mayor Willis.
Here. You received in your packets a copy of the minutes from the council meeting held on August the 16th of 2021. Any corrections to those minutes? If not, do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Take that motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So those minutes have been approved. Who had a second? Okay. Under old business, permission to pay $5,000 a host fee for the 2021 Carhartt College Bass Series to be held October 1 through 4. This is the second time this has been on the agenda, so we'll seek a motion for approval.
Maybe we approve it.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so that has been granted, and we'll move forward with that through our special events department. Under new business this afternoon, proposed 2021-2022 budget. First time it's on the agenda, so you'll have time to study this, read over it, and if you have any questions, Julie will be happy to work with you on that. Then item 3, ordinance 2021-4, an ordinance to establish and regulate the reserve officer program. This is the first read also, so we'll come back and have that on the agenda for the next meeting.
Go ahead and let Justin read.
You want to read it? Yeah.
All right, this is ordinance 4. Ordinance establishing and regulating the reserve officer program, be ordained as follows. Section 1, establishment as provided by Section 11 Code of Alabama 1975. The police reserve force hereafter called reserve is hereby established within the police department of the city of Wetumpka, Alabama. Section 2, qualifications. The reserve shall consist not more than 10 members. Any person desiring appointment to the reserve must submit a written application to the chief of police of the city of Wetumpka, Alabama, be at least 21 years of age, of good moral character and reputation, and have never been convicted of a felony or of a misdemeanor involving force, violence, or moral turpitude. Applicants must consent in writing to a fingerprint and background investigation. Qualifications are required by Section 1143-210 Code of Alabama 1975. Section 3, appointment. Appointments to the reserve shall be made by the chief of police with the approval of the mayor. Members of the reserve serve at the pleasure of the chief of police and may be removed with or without cause and without hearing by the chief of police with approval of the mayor. Section 4, supervision. The reserve shall function under the immediate direction of the chief of police, who shall provide for its organization and training. The chief of police is hereby authorized and directed to establish such rules and regulations as may be necessary for the efficient operation of the reserve and to appoint other officers to assist in the training and supervision of the reserve. Section 5, equipment. Each member of the reserve shall be issued an identification card by the chief of police. Members of the reserve shall carry this identification card with them at all times. Whenever a member of the reserve shall be called to active duty, he or she shall be issued a badge which shall be worn at all times while on active duty in the manner prescribed by the chief of police. Section 6, duties. The duties of the reserve officers are confined to the following. 1, patrol operation performed for the purpose of detection, prevention, and suppression of crime or enforcement of the traffic or highway laws of the state, provided the reserve law enforcement officer acts at all times under direct control and supervision of a certified law enforcement officer. 2, traffic direction and control may be performed without direct supervision, provided, however, that supervisory control is exercised by a certified law enforcement officer whose total span of control will be considered within reasonable limits. 3, reserve officers may render crowd control assistance at public gatherings of municipal functions as directed by the municipality, provided supervisory control will be exercised by a certified law enforcement officer whose total span of control will be considered within reasonable limits. For the purpose of this section, the term certified law enforcement officer shall mean a municipal police officer who has completed the training requirements of the Alabama Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, as set out in Article 3, Chapter 21, Title 36, Code of Alabama, 1975. Section 7, arrest powers. No member of the reserve shall have any authority to exercise any power of arrest unless he or she has completed the training requirements of the Alabama Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission, as set out in Article 3, Chapter 21, Title 36, Code of Alabama, 1975. Section 8, active duty. Members of the reserve shall be called to active duty by the chief of police. Section 9, weapons. Reserve officers may be authorized to carry weapons only after receiving all training and satisfactorily completing all courses and obtaining all certifications necessary to safely and properly carry a weapon and upon authorization by the chief of police. The city of Wetumpka authorizes reserve officers to carry weapons only if the member has obtained a properly issued permit for the firearm. Should a reserve officer be authorized to carry a weapon, said officer shall follow all policies, rules, and regulations for carrying a firearm as having been established for all city and police officers. Section 10, compensation. No member of the reserve shall receive any compensation for time required by reserve rules and regulations while on active duty. Section 11, violations. It shall be a misdemeanor for any person not a member of the reserve to wear, carry, or display a reserve identification card, badge, or in any way represent himself or herself to be connected with the reserve. 2, it shall be a misdemeanor for any member of the reserve to loan, sell, lease, or otherwise permit any person not a member of the reserve to wear, carry, or display a reserve identification card or badge. 3, it shall be a misdemeanor for any member of the reserve to assist any person not a member of the reserve to represent himself or herself as connected with the reserve. Section 12, penalty. Any person found guilty in violating the provisions of Section 11 of this ordinance shall upon conviction be fined in an amount not exceeding $500 or sentenced to imprisonment not exceeding 6 months, either or both at the discretion of the court trying the cause. Additionally, any member of the reserve charged with violating subsection 2 and 3 of Section 11 of this ordinance shall be suspended from the reserve pending a determination of guilt. Suspended reserve members must surrender their identification card and badge to the chief of police. Reserve members who are convicted of violating subsections 2 and 3 of Section 11 of this ordinance shall immediately be removed from the reserve force. A person convicted of violating subsections 2 and 3 of Section 11 of this ordinance shall not be eligible for reappointment to the reserve. Section 13, effective date. This ordinance shall become effective immediately upon its adoption and publication as required by law.
All right.
Okay, that's the first reading. Item 4, accept bid for the soccer field turf. Have a motion, you have a second?
Second.
All in favor of accepting this bid, let it be known by saying aye. Anyone opposed? So that has been accepted. Then item 5, accept bid for the parking lot lighting at the sports complex at a cost of $148,000.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Anyone opposed? So that too has been accepted. Then item 6, permission for the fire department to purchase communication system at a cost of $6,639.75. This is the first read on this, so it'll be back on the agenda for the next meeting. Item 7, permission to purchase track crossover mat at a cost of $7,885. Is there desire to suspend the rule?
Motion to suspend the rules and bring up immediately.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Roll call.
Councilmember Robbins?
Yes.
Councilmember Tucker?
Yes.
Councilmember Justice?
Yes.
Councilmember Gann?
Yes.
Councilmember Brown?
Yes.
Mayor Willis?
Yes. Okay. The rules having been suspended, we'll move forward to entertain a motion for purchase of these mats.
Move to purchase these mats.
Okay, we have the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So that too has been approved. And item 8, permission for Public Works to purchase a commercial mower at $13,377 for the sports complex. That's the first, that's the first. Okay, so it'll be back on the agenda for the next one. Item 9, permission to host Art in the Park in Gold Star Park for September the 25th of 2021. Do we have a motion to grant that permission?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, so that has been granted. We have an appointment that I would like to ask you to make, is the appointment of John Strickland back to the Water Board. His term has run out, and he told me he still felt like he had a few more good years left. Not many, but he had a few more good years left that he would like to serve and continue serving on the Water Board. So we'll entertain a motion for that appointment to the Water Board.
So moved.
Okay, we have the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
John, I thought I was gonna have trouble getting it. Here now, we've got
slow, man.
got 2 people giving it. Okay, we have a motion, we have the second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I mean, anyone, any argument opposed? Okay, so, John, thank you for your service. Appreciate your serving on that board. Okay. Anything else? Motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, but we stand adjourned.